Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Welcome. We got a lot to unpack tonight. I'm going to try to cover a few things, but the reality is this Judiciary Committee impeachment hearing is going to take up a lot of our time. I'm going to wait for you guys to file in. We're going to go in detail about that. Also, too, we briefly touch on Kamala Harris dropping out, which I'm kind of sad about that. You know, I didn't expect her to leave this early from the campaign. Maybe I'll talk about that now. Some people said, they felt like, she was the victim of a disinformation campaign. I'll say yes and no. Do I think that certain things were magnified in regards to her record? Absolutely. Because to me, no candidate is squeaky clean. So if you're looking for this squeaky clean, I've never done anything or my record is perfect kind of candidate, that's going to be kind of tough. Especially if they worked in any capacity of government. But I get it. I think the thing with Kamala is, unfortunately, and I'm not making any excuses for her, but here's my personal opinion. I think that when you are a black candidate, not only are you held to a higher standard in the world and in the arena in general, you're held to a higher standard by your own folks. And the reality is, black people, a lot, and I'm not going to say all black people because that's not the case, but a lot of black people, from what I've seen, just couldn't really get behind her because of her prosecutorial record. I don't know if that's a word or not, don't quote me. But because of that record and some of the things she's done in California during her time there, before she became the senator. And I think that just didn't jive with a lot of folks. And I say this all the time. This is show business. And I think that Kamala just couldn't come across. Well, the way she came across, it seemed like pandering. At least in my opinion. These are all my opinions. It seemed like pandering, and it seemed like it was something disingenuous about it that I think voters and would-be supporters kind of picked up on. I don't think she's like the worst person ever. I don't personally think she's probably a bad lady in her life. You know what I'm saying? Just in general. But unfortunately, when you are running for the president of the United States, everything gets put under a microscope. I will say this. I'm surprised that she's gone this early. I expected, Booker to be gone first. Even Klobuchar or Marianne Williamson. I have to admit, I am very surprised and shocked. Especially because one of her campaign headquarters was here in my home town of Baltimore, Maryland. I'm surprised that she's gone this early, but nevertheless she is. So, folks will have to move on from that. Oh, by the way, I hope everybody had a great holiday Thanksgiving and enjoyed your time with your family. I'm going to say hi to some of you guys. Tracy, Marcia, what's going on? Strong Island, Long Island in the building. I'm going to wait for a few more folks to file in, and then we're going to get to the big dance. Let me grab my notes here. Because I had been watching the trial. Now, I will say this, as you guys file in regards to this impeachment process, this whole hearing, I think that it was I think for the most part, for what it was I felt like it was very organized, even though I didn't per se like how certain questions were asked. I will say that I think the Democrats definitely should have asked the Republican witness, Mr. Jonathan Turley, who was a witness for the Republicans. I think they definitely should have asked him a little bit more questions, but I get why they didn't. But I think they definitely should have asked him more questions. Doug Allen, here's the thing. Before we get into detail, we keep talking about, everybody's talking about in the news outlets, in government officials, if we impeach the president, if we do all of these things, there's going to be this civil war. The reality is the civil war is already here. Okay? We're already at a civil war. Watching these hearings lets me know that the civil war is on. No, we may not be physically fighting each other and it's a battleground, but when you have a president doing immoral things, and things that are not within the code of conduct of the person that is supposed to be running this country, and you're finding ways to defend that, and ultimately what is happening right now is we're watching the dismantlement of the Constitution. To me, the Constitution means jack shit. The Constitution only matters when it's to persecute poor people, people of color, or when it applies for rich people to get a break. But outside of that, what we're watching on TV every day at these hearings is the disassembly of the United States Constitution. It's outdated. They don't even know. The government officials really don't even know how to interpret it. And you're watching that live because so many things are, it could be like this. We got to call this law professional. And to be honest, on both sides of the fence, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I feel like nobody's really, I can't trust any of you. If I'm being honest, guys. I can't trust any of them because even watching this today, while I feel like what was said was valid on both ends as far as the witnesses are concerned, I feel like everybody is so tainted. And this administration has left such a bad taste in some people's mouths. Even if you're pro this administration, you have been negatively affected. I think that when this is all over, if there's anything left of what the democracy is that we allegedly have now, there are going to be a lot of people needing to see therapists. And it's a lot of people that are very shell-shocked, and I don't even think that they realize it. When you go home to your children, when history looks back at this, how are you going to explain to your children that you helped discredit the United States Constitution because you wanted to make sure that a person who really shouldn't have never made it to the voting booth did things that were terrible? I mean, you have a president who is at a NATO summit, and you have France, Germany, the UK, princesses laughing at you, getting caught on live mics. This isn't speculation. This isn't what I think happened. This was caught on tape. That's messy in itself that they even let that get caught on tape. But you know why the Canadian Broadcasting Company posted? Because the Canadians posted that video. It's to show that we don't take you seriously. You are no longer a real factor for us right now. Because the reality is, in past presidencies, even if they had them powwows like that, that shit would have never made it to public view. Not at least from those countries. But these countries are posting it on their own shit, and they don't give a fuck. That should be cause for concern. No matter how you feel about if they're trying to impeach your candidate, the Democrats are trying to impeach your candidate because they just sad about the election or mad about the election. What needs to be the issue is that you have a president who is not respected on the world stage, okay, who is now the laughing stock. He's the punchline. It's like almost watching. They go to NATO just to laugh at him. It's embarrassing. He's getting fact-checked on live air by Emmanuel Macron on policy and different things, statements that were made on live air. Like, wait a minute, sis, this isn't right. That's an embarrassment. And that's something that as a United States citizen, I'm personally invested in being handled. That's not good. So we have to look at all of these things. The Civil War to me is already here, folks. Like I said, it's not coming. It's not if we impeach. The lines have been drawn in the sand a long time ago. Now they like buried deep in this motherfucker. So, just a little background. Today at the hearing, we had 4 legal professionals testify. We had Noah Feldman, a.k.a. Benedict Cumberbatch, because he was giving me Benedict Cumberbatch tease, bitch, from Harvard Law School. Pamela Carlin, Pamela, bitch. Pamela ain't come to play, bitch. Pamela was serving these hoes in this hearing. She's from Stanford Law School. Michael Gerhardt, from the University of North Carolina Law School. These are all the Democratic witnesses. And then you had one GOP witness, Jonathan Turley, from George Washington University Law School. Now, what is interesting is this. I did a little research, right? So, in 1998, when they did the Clinton impeachment, only, from what I'm seeing here, about 7 of the current House members participated in that impeachment. A lot of these people are new. They've never been through an impeachment. Some of them probably were children or teenagers. But Jerry Nadler, which he looked like he was in the Clinton impeachment, bitch, no shady. Democratic Representatives Zoe Lofgren and Sheila Jackson Lee. Sheila Jackson Lee was the black lady, if you were watching the hearing with the fro, bitch, giving Reading Rainbow Teas, giving 1970s PBS realness, bitch. That's Sheila Jackson Lee. Republican Representative Jim Sensenbrenner, and Jonathan Turley and Michael Gerhardt were legal experts. So Jonathan Turley, who was the Republican witness, let's put this together, who was the Republican witness that said, you're taking his whole stance, and let me break this down. So we're at Jonathan Turley, Republican witness. His whole thing was, yes, I'm not saying that Trump is an upstanding, perfect president. He's not saying that. What he's saying is, bitch, based on what you have and the legal proof, the facts, the burden of proof, you would have a stronger case if you took more time. Now, I will agree with Doug Collins on one thing. Me and you both know that on the Democratic side of the fence, they trying to get his ass up out of here before this next election. So when he says it's an impeachment against the clock and an election, I ain't even gonna front. He's absolutely fucking right. Okay? But Jonathan Turley, who I don't even think the Republicans really agree with him on that, taking more time, but he's basically saying, research the facts, do a little bit more investigation, call some more witnesses before you move forward so that it's ironclad. The way he said it was very smug, and you obviously know what side of the fence he's playing for. But what he's saying is, bitch, if you gonna pull a trigger, basically what he's saying is, bitch, if you pull that trigger, you better not miss. That's what he's basically saying. These other 3 witnesses, Mother Pam, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Michael Gerhardt, they basically saying, fuck that shit. He did some fucked up shit. It's time to get rid of his head. They like, fuck it. It's a case closed. We did it. You know, now, Turley said in his testimony, and I pulled the quote, bitch. He said, 21 years ago, I sat before you, Chairman Nagler. Now, this shows why we should have term limits, because there's no way in hell. I was, in 1998, my ass was leaving middle school, bitch. And Nadler, Jerry Nadler, and Jonathan Turley were at the Clinton impeachment, bitch. There's no way that 21 years later, the same people should be in offices and being brought in at another impeachment. Literally 21 years, that's a whole human being. There are children who are now able to drink that were just being born at the Clinton impeachment. And Nagler and Turley are still here. That's the problem for me. But anyway, he goes, 21 years ago, I sat before you, Chairman Nadler, and this committee to testify at the impeachment of President William Jefferson Clinton. I never thought that I would have to appear a second time to address the same question with regard to another sitting president, yet here we are. Turley went on to say, the elements are strikingly similar. The intense rancor and rage of the public debate is the same. The atmosphere that the framers anticipated, the stifling intolerance of opposing views is the same. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Turley. Now, he's saying all of that, and Turley's saying, you know, you need to have ironclad proof. But Turley actually, from what I understand, endorsed the Clinton impeachment. And to me, and maybe I need to go back and research the Clinton impeachment. Maybe we need to do a throwback edition, bitch. But, and look at how things were handled with the Clinton impeachment. But to me, this shit is way more ironclad than Clinton getting his dick sucked. I mean, yeah, he did it, but that, like, I mean, and this is just me as a everyday citizen, guys. How can you support the Clinton impeachment, but feel like, with what they presented at that time, but feel like with the Trump impeachment, they need more proof? Even if some things are missed, there is no doubt here that he is compromised. He's not, like, it's no, if you're saying that this, you feel like, and the crazy part is this, and they probably don't care because they probably got secret underground bunkers they can take their children to and all of this shit. But I don't know how no political party is entrenched that deep in my heart that I could go home at night and go to sleep at night with my children if I had them and feel like my national security is safe with that motherfucker. I don't understand how you could do it. I sleep well at night as a citizen because I can't control world policy. I can't control what North Korea do. But these people can control how we're viewed, control how we react to things, secure things better. And that is what's crazy to me. So I think that was interesting with how things were. So Turley goes, he warned lawmakers on moving forward with obstruction of justice against President Trump. And I'm going to read some quotes here for those of you who did not see the hearing. I'd also caution you about obstruction. Obstruction is a crime with meaning. It has elements. It has case authority. The record does not establish obstruction in this case. What my esteemed colleague said was certainly true. If you accept all of their presumptions, it would be obstruction. But impeachments have to be based on proof, not presumptions, he said. Turley then explained how the Democrats' fast-moving schedule could hinder their impeachment efforts. Fast is not good for impeachment. Narrow, fast impeachments have failed. Just ask Andrew Johnson. So the obstruction issue is an example of this problem. If you're going to accuse a president of bribery, you need to make it stick because you're trying to remove a duly elected president of the United States. This is where they bring in the voters to try to make like, you're going against the voters. He goes, the impeachment record against Trump is wafer thin. The only other record that could be as thin as the one against Trump is the record against President Andrew Johnson. But this is certainly the thinnest of the modern record. If you take a look at the size of the record of Clinton and Nixon, they were massive in comparison to this, which is also almost wafer thin in comparison. The record against Trump, he said, has left doubts in the minds of people about what happened. There's a difference between requesting investigations and the quid pro quo. You need to stick the landing on the quid pro quo. You need to get the evidence to support it. It might be out there, I don't know, but it's not in this record, Turley said. So basically, here's what he's saying. And it's going to make you mad. He's not saying that he's not guilty. Be clear. Nothing in that says that he's not guilty. Turley's saying, bitch, y'all can't really prove it. So he didn't even say at one time that this man is innocent. Y'all are this is a witch hunt, blah, blah, blah. He's just saying y'all can't prove it. Which is sad. This is how we end up with people like George Zimmerman. And I just think that's terrible. In regards to that, now the thing is with the Judiciary Committee, the reason why this particular hearing is so important is because the Judiciary Committee has jurisdiction over drafting the articles of impeachment. So all these other committees, the Intelligence Committee, Oversight Committee, Foreign Affairs Committee, all these committees is great, but basically when it comes to the real deal, Holyfield, none of them can do shit, but the Judiciary Committee can actually draft the articles, okay? So after they draft the articles of impeachment, the Judiciary Committee will vote on whether to refer them to the full House of Representatives. The articles, if approved, will then be given special status on the House floor. It requires a simple majority of voting lawmakers to approve them, and doing so would officially impeach the president. So the Judiciary Committee can actually bring it to the floor, have them vote on it. Is we impeaching this motherfucker or not? They go to vote. Either it's going to be a yay or it's going to be a nay, but it has to be a majority vote. So this is why now that it's at this stage, it's a bigger deal. Now, word on the street is Schumer, the majority leader in the Senate, has already been kind of showing people what the Senate process would be as far as like a trial of the president for impeachment and things like that. They're already, I kind of think that's putting the cart before the horse, but they're already working on that. So that's how it works with the Judiciary Committee. Now, as far as these witnesses are concerned, it was interesting because Pamela Karlan, okay, who she went in. If you watch the trial today, bitch, she didn't have no cut cards. Mother Karlan, she was ready. She was ready for these hoes. And once again, Pamela Karlan is from Stanford University. So, law professor Pamela Karlan went off her prepared remarks and pushed back on Doug Collins. Now, Doug Collins is the asshole that was condescending and low-key rude, asking the questions on the part of the Republicans. Earlier statements that the hearing was invalid in part because the law professors wouldn't have had time to read up on the impeachment proceedings. She said she would not have appeared if she weren't prepared and said that his comments were insulting. And here's her quote. Today you are being asked to consider whether protecting those elections require impeaching a president. That is an awesome responsibility. This is Collins. that everything I know about our Constitution and its values in my review of the evidentiary record in here, Mr. Collins, I would like to say to you, sir, that I read transcripts of every one of the witnesses who appeared in the live hearing because I would not speak about these things without reviewing the facts. So I'm insulted by the suggestion that as a law professor, I don't care about these facts. Read, bitch. Okay? Read. Now, my thing is this. I hear I'm all about the people reading up on the fact, but we just read, I just told you guys, we just read that Turley did this same shit 21 years ago. So, if anybody know how this shit the fuck works, it's the Republican law witness. He did the shit 2 decades ago. He might have needed a refresher, but he did this shit before. So, that's kind of like bullshit. Okay? And she called him on it. Then, Michael Gerhardt, professor at University of North Carolina School of Law, said that an impeachable offense doesn't have to be a crime under U.S. criminal law. Everything we know about the history of impeachment reinforces the conclusion that impeachable offenses do not have to be crimes, and again, not all crimes are impeachable offenses. We look again at the context and gravity of the misconduct, he said. And also, too, Jonathan Turley agreed with that. So, basically, Gerhardt is saying, it may not have been a crime per se, but that doesn't mean that we can't impeach his ass. To me, impeachment feels like it's about ethics and code of conduct and, doing things that put national security at risk, high crimes, misdemeanors, things of that nature. Which obviously, conspiring with the foreign government or trying to get them to do something for you in an election. These are I don't. If this isn't impeachable, what is impeachable? And the Republicans are trying to spin this, and I just don't understand how they think that this is going to work. Also, too, another thing that they brought up. So Congress charged Richard Nixon. Now, Richard Nixon quit before it even got to the impeachment process. He was like, fuck it, I'm caught, I'm out of here. He called it a day. Congress charged Nixon with obstruction for denying 4 subpoenas. Trump has defied far more. Michael Gerhardt said that there's more than enough evidence to charge Trump with obstruction of Congress. He pointed Richard Nixon, who resigned from office before he could be impeached, to highlight the point. So this is his quote. Just to really underscore this, the 3rd article of impeachment approved by the House Judiciary Committee against President Nixon charged him with misconduct because he failed to comply with 4 legislative subpoenas. Here it is, far more than 4 that this president has failed to comply with, and he's ordered the executive branch as well not to cooperate with Congress. Those, together with a lot of other evidence, suggest obstruction of Congress. So basically, Gerhardt is saying, bitch, they was getting ready to impeach Nixon ass for ignoring 4 subpoenas. This motherfucker ignored 800 of them, got the whole executive branch. Everybody, don't go to court. So just off of that alone, he should be impeached. But that brings us to my point. We're in a football game right now in America. To me, there is no blind justice. There never was. That was an illusion anyway. Maybe blind justice for white folks. But as we can see now, blind justice just does not exist. It is my personal belief that neither side of the aisle, not Republicans, not Democrats, can move forward and truly perform a nonpartisan task and getting the country back on track. And that's because things have been too compromised. You have senators and congressmen so worried about losing their seats. You have people worried about getting aired out by Trump. It's just so tainted at this point that I'm not confident that our government can even do it. And that's the reality. I feel like, honestly, we're at a stalemate. Because if the impeachment does go through, then you have the Republican side is not going to accept it. They're not going to respect the rule of law. And they're going to deny. And then you're going to have all of the Trump voters saying that they got a raw deal. Then you have the Democrats in a compromising situation, because if they don't do this impeachment and it doesn't go through, now you look like a joke. And as a party, that's going to be hard to come back from. We're at a place where everybody got to pull their guns out, so to speak. It's no backing down. It's no back channels. Like, we're at a point now, also too, because all of the money that goes into these hearings and shit, where it's not going to be a resolution or a compromise. It's going to be a winner and it's going to be a loser. The loser ultimately is going to be the American public, on both sides, or all sides, no matter how you fix it. But from a party standpoint, somebody's going to leave this a winner and somebody's going to leave this a loser. And there's no two ways about it. And both sides know it. That's why the cattiness, like, think about it as American citizens. We used to, like, look at, you know, Republic hearings or judicial hearings in other countries when they would get to fighting or arguing and be like, they're crazy over there. Look at what we're doing now. We're doing the same thing. It's not the rudeness, the condescending behavior, the disrespectful dialect and language. None of these people are anybody that I personally choose to look up to or admire and value. None of them. I personally, and while I am going to definitely be voting blue, I am thoroughly disgusted with our government as a whole. And because you got all of these intelligent people, college graduates, esteemed folks, and none of them can sit down and say, you know what, guys, let's make this work. And the only thing it took for all of this shit to unravel was a 2-bit trust fund baby who dodged the draft saying he had some phony fucking disability, who's bankrupted entire fucking cities, whose all his friends are criminals. It didn't even take, like, he's not even that smart. That's the sad part. Like, our democracy is unraveling. The Constitution is being disassembled. People are acting like animals. And it's not even at the hands of somebody who's fucking smart. He's not even that fucking bright. That's sad. And I think, you know, if this video gets around, if, you know, whatever happens, if you're, and I know sometimes, because guys, sometimes these senators and congressmen, they actually watch Secretary of Shade. I done got some letters, and I done seen some hits. So they watch these videos. If you are a Congress member, whether it's on a local level or a federal level, and you're watching this broadcast, I challenge you to get your shit together. Because right now, you are playing and you hold in your hands the fate of how this country is going to continue. For those of you in the Senate and Congress right now, for those of you working in the White House, You will be the people that when children open the history books decades from now and they read about the fall of America, your names will be the names listed as contributors. And I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about it hard. And I want you to think about it seriously. Because not only are you playing with my life and the lives of millions and countless others, you're playing with your personal legacy. And you're playing with how the world stage and landscape will be for years to come. And that's all I have to say about that. Now, as far as this key session, bitch, that these world leaders had at NATO, it serves them right. While it is embarrassing to us on the world stage, this is what we need. Your allies are laughing at you, honey. These aren't even your fucking enemies. These are your allies. It looked like, you know, when I watched this video of Emmanuel Macron and Justin Trudeau and all of these guys talking, it looked like people like an episode of like The Office or like Community or something like that, where it's this fucking nutcase, you know, at work, and everybody knows it, and they meet by the water cooler and laugh at them and kiki, and then they see him walk past, they turn their head, and then they start laughing and chattering again. That's what it felt like. Like, I think Trump is a sitcom to them. Like, he really is a sitcom to them. That's how they view it. And we gotta get our shit together. Yes, there's an election. There's an election less than a year from now. Like, we're in that space now, folks. The election is now, yes, less than a year away. I'm going to need these Democratic candidates. Y'all need to start narrowing this shit down now. We need to know what we're dealing with and who going to be doing what. Like I said, I didn't expect for Kamala to make her exit this soon. I expected her to be here for a while. So this was definitely a surprising blow to me. But bitch, we needed to get it together. I'm just saying. So on that note, what else we got going on? I think that was a lot. Just that file. Oh, on a local level, I just want to address this and then I'm gonna let you guys know. I know everybody. Some people were upset at Mayor Jack Young. Like here in Baltimore, it's like where I live at. Actually, 2 blocks from my house is one of the hottest spots for human trafficking abductions. So 2 blocks from where Secretary of Shade happens, bitch, they snatching people up. Pray for me. Although I don't think nobody want my fat ass, like, not really, but just pray for me. But our mayor here in Baltimore made a statement, and, you know, he's not the most refined man. And just to give you some backstory, he wasn't elected mayor. He became mayor because our first mayor was stealing and shit. So he in there by default. But basically, there's been stories going around and video, like personal accounts, like people there, a lot of missing black girls, a lot of girls and things like that, and folks going missing. And he basically said to the news and on air, what have you, you know, to be on the lookout. There are people snatching people in white vans, trying to steal their organs. Is there any factual, like, did he go to any, like, law enforcement official? No. And I get what people are saying is that he should have had his team check with law enforcement, get statistics and all of that. I get it. But if I'm in a majority black city, and I'm constantly seeing on the news and on Facebook from news outlets missing child, missing teen, missing old person, missing. And these girls are all young black girls. Okay? We having reports from private citizens saying that they almost got snatched. I don't see nothing wrong with saying, bitch, you might want to protect your neck or look out. I understand he didn't do the statistic thing, but it's not like he was reporting shooting statistics or political outcomes or financial records, bitch. He was just basically saying, bitch, don't get jammed up. And people found a problem with that. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's like we be looking for superheroes in people that we could never be ourselves. And I'm not saying that government officials should not be held to a standard. Hell, we just spent 40 fucking minutes talking about how they should. But the reason why I strongly believe part of the reason why we're at where we're at is because the things that we need to take seriously, we don't. Or we argue over it. And the shit that don't matter, we put a magnifying glass on. Queen and Slim. People was upset about the end of that movie. But I have not seen that same amount of dialogue and debate online about George Zimmerman suing the parents of Trayvon Martin for $100 million. George Zimmerman is still walking around living, doing fuck shit. George Zimmerman is still alive, and it baffles me. But you are upset at two black women who casted two black people as leads with a majority black cast for not giving you this unrealistic ending where two black people who were pulled over by the police and shot under duress and had to shoot in self-defense and go on a run down south, and you expected them in a time of surveillance where black people are getting killed for just walking down the street to get away, and you're mad that the two black women who put black actors to work didn't give you an ending where they get on this fantasy plane and go lay on the island at the end. Yet George Zimmerman still lives. I'm confused. But I'm going to leave it at that. Okay? You guys have a great evening. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to click the bell for notifications. Follow me on Instagram at GODDM. You guys enjoy your night. If we get some more breaking news, I'll be back sometime this week to dissect it all as only me and you can do. You guys have a great evening, and now talk to you soon.